Hello, thank you for watching this short recording. My name is Brother Sean, and I want to share with your heart, not your head, a few observations on life in general, because so many who contact me are really struggling with this global recession, but struggling more so on the spiritual path. And many are affected by the blues, depression. Many have expressed an irritableness, leaving them totally miserable and helpless. So how do we beat the blues? Well, the first thing to do is to acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you have the blues. I live with the blues. From taking Prozac, back in 1996 for reactionary depression, I didn't realize at the time because it was a safe drug. But it introduced me to mental illness, and now I live with everyday severe depression, on top of a few other things for good measure. So how do I beat the blues? Well, the important thing for me was not to fight it, was to embrace it, and to manage its dynamics effectively by not running away, by getting help. But I found it really difficult to go to my doctor, who's a dear friend. He lives in the village where we are here, and he's ever so approachable and understanding. But having nursed for 38 years, I find it very difficult to talk about how I'm feeling. I'm very good at listening to others telling me how they feel, but I'm not very good articulating how I feel with a fellow professional. That was because I kept putting myself down. I tried to be too clever for my own good, and I tried to manipulate the system. But now I beat the blues by welcoming whatever help is offered to me. And I take responsibility for my life by ensuring I eat healthily. No more junk food, no more snacking, and rest. But having nursed for so many years, my pattern of sleep, for a start, is totally out of kilter, because I want to work when most people are asleep. But I do have a cat nap in the day. I call it my holy hour, and I always feel rested afterwards. But coming back to the problem, it may not be the blues, depression. It may be low self-worth, low self-esteem. Acknowledge that there's a problem. Name it, bless it, and release it to God. You're not asked by God to suffer like I was led to believe as a young monk, that we had to put stones in our shoes, whip ourselves, wear chains, draw blood, offer it up for souls. That is not God's will. God's will for you and me is that we live a fun lived life, that we're happy, that we're joyful, not miserable so-and-sos. If you were to look at the photographs of me as a young Catholic nursing monk, you'd say, my God, you have a problem. I was the most miserable fecker, as they said in Ireland. I looked, now I'm happy. Yes, I battle with lots of demons every day, but I name how I feel, what I'm feeling. I bless it, and I immediately release it to God for help. I don't start rationalizing it. Well, why am I feeling like this? And what caused this? Because that's the mind, that's the ego. And if we carry on going down that route of self-analyzing, we'll end up getting lost. We'll go astray. Keep it simple. That's why I'm a Franciscan. Keep it simple. Ask your heart in prayer, what is making me ill? What's having me feel the feelings that I feel? That's why we have on the spiritual path examen of conscience, where at the end of each day we reflect on the day just gone. Was there anything in that day that I could have improved? Was I uncharitable? Did I miss opportunities to demonstrate hospitality and kindness? That examen of conscience keeps you grounded and rooted. And some days my list is endless, where I've fallen big time. But the secret is to get back up again and come to your God in prayer in your vulnerability and availability. Use your disabilities and your weaknesses as a prayer for God. But don't suffer in silence. Seek help and take responsibility for how you are feeling. If you're in a loveless marriage, if you're in a relationship that's lost, it's past its sell-by date, what do? Do you stay with it? Many people do. Many people who live in violent relationships know they've got to get out, especially when there's young children involved. But their head says no, that they don't really mean it. You pretend to yourself that you love this person. You don't love them. Because if you truly loved someone, then you wouldn't put up with that. And if you convince yourself that they love you, then they wouldn't treat you like that. But love, genuine love, unconditional love, is reciprocated. It's where two people come together and acknowledge the divine in each person, and they show respect. But if you're in a situation where there's no respect or feel-good factor, and you become deeply unhappy as a result, that's control. Many people today who say they're affected by the blues, depression, a lot of it can be dealt with and healed by trying to discover what are the triggers. Why do you do the things you do? The best starting point that I would recommend is when I come into prayer, I sit quietly, having lit a candle. I call on the messengers of God. I call on the cosmic Christ. And I say, I'm struggling. I'm hurting. Can you explain to me? Can you show me? Where am I going wrong? You may be totally oblivious. You may be so ego-driven that all you care about is your appearance, looking good. You've seen it on the films, you've seen it in reality, you've seen it with the company directors and their wives. They spend a fortune on their appearance to look good, but in their private life they may be deeply unhappy, deeply unfulfilled. Isn't it time to take back your power? Isn't it time to be true to your heart? And isn't it time to face your greatest fear? Fear is an illusion. It has no face. And the power that it has over you is power that you have fed it. So come back to your heart. Come into the presence of God. I'm not saying become religious. I'm just saying that you do not have to suffer. God paid the price for your freedom by sending his son Jesus to die on a cross. If you're unwilling to face your greatest fears, then you're making the Christ suffer over and over. Be free. Be happy. There is hope for all of us. And though I live with severe depression, I've turned it round. It doesn't own me anymore. It doesn't have that hold on me anymore, because I give it to God as a prayer. I give it to God as a prayer. So take heart. There is hope. Take the first step, and the first step is to admit there is a problem, to acknowledge it, to name it, to bless it and release it. Don't keep it back for dinner, breakfast and lunch. No. Don't take it to the movies with you. No. Let it go. I ask the Father, Mother God, who created you in your mother's womb and to breathe the breath of life on you, to fill you with the peace and love of God. I pray that you will be free. And if you wish to join us at our live stream vigil at midnight, Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, from 12 midnight London time, we are dedicating our 30-minute soiree to spiritual healing. So if you wish to join us, if you are struggling in your journey, join us. Log in, share your name, and we will hold you in love. And we will ask the Cosmic Christ to touch you. And you'll probably be thinking, well, how can you do that? Because I take the Cosmic Christ at his word. Because he did say, whatever you ask in my name, I will do it for you. He didn't say, oh, well, I'll think about it. No, he said, I will do it for you. And he does do it for me. So let's give it a chance. Let's give it a try. Take one look in the mirror, and rather than see the blemishes, the spots and the wrinkles and the loss of hair, try and look in the mirror and see what God sees. You'll be amazed. Thank you for giving up your time to watch this recording. May God reward you. Namaste.